There's a lot of those old school real estate agents out there, very stereotypical. They like to pick up the phone. They like to be like, hey, we have a listing down the street. Hey, we got this. Hey, we got that. Come sell your house with me. Come buy your house with me.
Dial
Knock, knock, knock.
dollars,
Dial in
right?
for
Yeah.
dollars, right?
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, brought to you by Advanced Services and Fuse Networks. My name's Galen.
I'm Joe.
We're coming at you from the Creative Block Studios in Seattle, Washington. So, Joe, for our new listeners and viewers tuning in, how did our podcast come to be?
Sure. So it first started out as a Facebook group page where the purpose was to bring just business owners together to kind of communicate and talk with one another, ask questions, and kind of help one another out. And then because we get asked questions outside of marketing all the time, we thought what a better way than to bring on different guest speakers into a podcast setting to just answer questions and share relevant content that business owners can learn and adapt into their business.
Awesome. Thank you. And today we have a live in-studio guest. We have Lynea Carver joining us. Joe, can you start her formal intro, please?
Sure. So Lynea Carver is a trusted and experienced real estate agent with eXp Realty in Tacoma, Washington. As a team leader, marketing guru, and teacher, she has dedicated her career to helping busy professionals upgrade their homes and assisting sellers in maximizing their property's value. With a passion for systems and innovation, she is also the founder of The Dream Method, an innovative solution designed to simplify the process of achieving your dream lifestyle.
Awesome. So her Dream Method is a personalized approach that tailors services to your specific needs. She understands that every client has unique goals, and she's committed to delivering exceptional service with exceptional results. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing in real estate, her team is here to guide you on the path to achieving your dream home. Everyone welcome Lynea.
Thank you. That was said so nicely. Who wrote that?
Oh, I don't know. We're just doing what we're told. No, just kidding. But thanks for being in studio with us.
Absolutely.
To be our guest. So we asked our guests the same three questions just to kind of get to know them. So
Okay.
This first question: what are some early lessons learned as an entrepreneur?
I know you prepared me for this. So I'm going to share three really, really important lessons that I learned my very first year in the business. First thing that I was taught is as an entrepreneur, it's really important to think of your business as a business and not to think of yourself as an entrepreneur. So you have to separate the two of them because they're very different. You know,
Right.
when you have a business acumen and a business mindset, you do things differently than if you're just hustling every day to try to make a living.
Right.
That was my number one. The second one is if you think about what you really want out of your life and you do that every day, it doesn't become work anymore. It just becomes life. Like, I don't actually believe that there is a balance between work and life. I actually think there's no such thing. I think if you wake up every day and you're doing what you love to do and you're doing it with passion and you're doing it wonderfully,
Right.
that's it, right? I mean,
Right.
Part of the reason I got into what I do is because I have a passion for serving people on a deeper level than I was ever able to do it before. And so now I actually get to do that.
Right.
I get to
And
do
you
it.
don't think of it as
And I
work.
don't, it's not work. Actually, when my husband and I, when I first got into the business, he used to ask me all the time, are you still working? Are you still working? And today, sometimes he'll still accidentally slip and say, are you working?
Right.
But I look at him, I'm like, I don't know. I mean,
There's no off switch.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's not really
So-
work. It's just life. It's like I now have a wheelhouse. You know, I have something that I can actually use my passion and my purpose in at a much greater scale.
Okay.
And then the third thing I would say is learn. Learn everything you can. Put yourself in a room where you're stupid. Be the dumbest person in the room and learn everything you can and absorb it. And then beyond just learning, actually implement what you're learning. And those three things, those three tips have just served me great.
So
Well, real quick, we've done that for 92 episodes, being the dumbest people in the
There
room.
you go. You're doing a
And
great
when
job.
we have guests, we absorb everything from our guests.
Yeah.
So
So how long you been a realtor for?
So I got my license in August of 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got in. I was in corporate America before. Prior to that, I was actually in the real estate industry. You all know what happened back in 2008 when the market crashed. I was in loans at the time, hated it, and the market crashed. And I was like, oh, there's a sign. And then I got a real job, went into corporate America, worked through corporate America for 12 years, and just decided it was time to do something different. My life was pulling me in a different direction.
So with that, so you've been doing real estate now for 5 years. What has been the best piece of advice that you've been given?
Well, there's been a lot. There's been a lot. So I have two, but I have to narrow it down to one, just one.
Do two.
Okay, I'll do two. Okay, the best piece of advice I was ever given, was from my mom. So my mom, she's actually still in real estate. She's been in real estate my whole life. So I actually grew up in the industry. And the best piece of advice she ever gave me was to watch very carefully what your competition is doing. Watch and learn. And, not in a negative way, just
Right.
like to watch and be smart, like
Yeah,
be
right.
aware of who your competition is. And the second greatest piece of advice I ever got was from my business coach. She actually gave me a sweatshirt one time, and it says it on the back, and it says action takers are money makers. So rather than just sitting around and thinking about doing something, getting up and actually doing it,
Yeah.
that's where the money happens.
all right. So something we're really proud of is our hashtag Valor Cares initiative, which started because of the pandemic. Joe, can you share with our audience what that initiative is all about?
Yep. So if you are a business owner and you maybe don't have a website, or you have a website that's outdated, or you have a website that your best friend's cousin's brother built in his basement and you don't have access to that either, and you're looking for a professional built website that's a little bit more modern and up to date and converts, we would love to help your business out. Informational websites only, no selling websites, no multi-level marketing, things like that. But you can go to our website, fill out an application. If you have everything ready to go, your content, your colors, your logo, your pictures, that would be ideal. And then we can knock on a website in 2 to 3 weeks.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Now we come to the part of our podcast, our Advanced Services Pump You Up quote of the day. And I want to read this quote Lynea gave and then get her thought on it. So, being omnipresent is the name of the game in real estate. You need to be everywhere. So, tons of real estate agents all around the country, right? We know what the real estate market's doing.
Yeah.
Not everyone's as present as some. Why do you believe in that?
Well, multiple reasons. First of all, think about it. Okay, if you go online somewhere, let's say you're scrolling Facebook. Okay, it's usually where people start. They scroll Facebook, you'll see something that looks interesting because someone is really good at stopping the scroll. They're like,
Yeah.
hey, and you jump out and you click on that. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, what's this all about? And you're like, I'm not really that interested, right? You keep on scrolling.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what happens when you go to Instagram? You see the same ad, or not the same ad, a different ad,
Right.
but the same company,
Right.
right? And then all of a sudden, that person now is showing up in your Gmail, right? That person's showing up at the top of your Gmail. Or you go over to Yahoo Mail if you're still on Yahoo, and they're popping up there, right? Or you go over to Google, and all of a sudden, you're seeing them pop up there. And so what happens is that real estate agents need to be doing the same thing because people will buy eventually with their bought onto you, but the only way they're going to do that is if they see you everywhere.
Right.
And the other thing is, like, with omnipresence, yes, I'm talking about platforms like online, but that includes being in your grocery store, being in your local community magazines, being out and available, and so people can see you in person and actually get to know who you are.
Right.
Because, being everywhere is really, that's the name of the game, because people start to, like, the general consumer starts to see you and recognize you, and they know, like, and trust you before they even picked up the phone and called you.
Right.
It just makes it easier.
Awesome.
Well, you could relate that to all businesses, not just real estate agents,
every
but
business,
every
right.
business. Every business should be marketing
Yeah.
everywhere that they can afford, so to speak, and
Yeah.
then also anything that drives an ROI.
Well, so think about it. Like, I just bought a new car. Okay. And I first started out by looking on the BMW website. I bought a BMW X6. Her name is Betty. I love her. But I was looking between. I was trying to figure out which version I wanted. I wanted between two models of a car.
Yep.
And I just happened to look at the X6, and then all of a sudden, somehow Pinterest is now showing me BMW X6s, right? And so it was plugged into my brain. So it's like the car dealerships are doing it. I mean, everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
You just don't realize it until you're the one who actually has to do it.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, that's what I need to do.
Right.
So.
It just reaffirms what you're thinking and then expedites the process.
Yeah, and it's like, what was that Netflix series, The Social Network? Is that what it was called? The one where they're talking about how social media finds you. It's true. I mean, my phone's listening to me right now.
Right.
I mean, it's just what happens. It's just the name of the game. And so you might as well take advantage of that, and rather than trying to hate on it.
All right. So we're at the part of our podcast, our Fuse Network's Did You Know segment.
Cyber criminals deploy millions of phishing schemes daily, and that number is only on the rise. Can your employees spot more modern, sophisticated phishing schemes? Strengthen your front line of defense by implementing cybersecurity awareness training and help reduce the risk of a data breach occurring. Call Fuse Networks, your local Seattle IT experts, at 206-701-6040 and get ahead of the curve.
So there's two facts that I want you to confirm, right? So I'll read this first one. You mentioned Facebook as a platform where a lot of people start their discovery process. And I didn't know it was this duration, but Facebook leads have an average conversion cycle of 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's true. I mean, in my experience, I could be wrong, but they have an average conversion cycle if you're buying Facebook leads. I mean, if you're paying for ads on Facebook, it's a lot longer of a cycle than, say, an organic lead. But this is just for spending money on Facebook. Yeah, it's about a 12 to 18 month cycle. So again, let's go back to the having to be everywhere. Right. Like if someone's going to look at your Facebook page today, they're probably not ready to buy or sell a house today. I mean, when do you go to Facebook to look to buy or sell a house? You don't.
I don't.
no,
You don't.
you happen to be on that platform, and then Facebook gives you these ideas.
Right. But then all of a sudden, a few months down the road, you're still seeing, now I kind of want to buy my house. So then you Google, how do I sell my house? Right. And then, if you're doing the right job on our end, then that you're showing up on that side too. But really, it's a 12 to 18 month cycle. So if you're looking at Facebook as a lead source for today business, it's probably not going to happen. But that's why the omnipresence really comes in, and you have to be everywhere.
So let me ask you a question. I don't know if it's hard to get a number on this, but is there a value or a number? Like you spend X amount to get a lead. Is there that number? I know it's different for all industries, but for real estate, have you come up with you're going to spend X on Facebook, your yield is Y? Is that yield always the same, like the value?
It varies. It varies on how you're running an ad. It varies on
targeting
audience, it varies on what the lead magnet is, what's your call to action. There's so many different ways, if it's a buyer or a seller.
Right.
I mean, there's so many different ways to calculate ROI on Facebook ads per se.
So what do you use as your KPI, your key performance indicator for being the right amount of omnipresent online?
So I look at it as how many people did I add into my database from all different sources, from Google, YouTube, wherever they're coming in from. How many people did I add into my database, and how many of those did I actually pay for? Right, because I actually prefer organic over everything. Like that's really my bread and butter is organic business. But I look at how much business did I get that I had to pay for, and then how much did that cost me? How much did I make? And I usually like to see to make 90% more. I want a 90% return, essentially, is kind of how I look at that.
Right.
If I have spent more than that, then, I'm going to stop doing it.
Right.
But I mean, so the thing is, like, when you look at Facebook leads or any lead, really, Google leads, whatever it is, you're going to pay more for that initial lead generation. And then the repurposing piece or the retargeting piece, that's where it's actually going to cost a little bit less money. So
then I'm going to ask the question, because you already mentioned it. For you, because you're real estate, what has been the best ROI for a certain type of marketing? Meaning, which was it? Google Ads? Is it SEO? Is it Instagram? Is it Pinterest? Is it magazines? Is it display ads? What's been your biggest ROI for you as a real estate agent?
To be 100% honest,
Yes.
it has been community events, in-person community events.
Also, like popping a 10 by 10 tent. And...
No, it's actually been hosting community events.
Oh,
so
okay.
because I have a really strong social presence, this is where the omnipresence really comes in. Yes, I do buy Facebook leads, right? I do buy Google leads, but where that really helps me is that because I'm so present online and because I'm also out in the community, it helps me when I want to go in and partner with local community leaders and say, hey, you know what? Let's do a community event together.
Because they trust you
because
already.
they trust me, right?
Right.
So the biggest claim is, you know, I actually, Mark and I actually did a vlog in my community, and we were just doing a kind of a drive-through tour of the area to go on my YouTube channel. It was an awesome video, but the best thing about that was we walked into a coffee shop and I was like, hey, you know, can we just kind of shoot your coffee shop? We want to kind of showcase the area, showcase the neighborhood. And that turned into absolutely, that did really well on YouTube. It did really well on Facebook, but better on YouTube. And then that turned into, hey, can I, you know, come in and actually do an interview with you?
Right.
And then that turned into, hey, we want you to sell and buy our house and help our kids sell and buy our house. And that turned into, hey, every single holiday, let me give out your coffee to my clients for, so it's really turned into this like community outreach. So that's actually had the best return. And the Facebook ads and the Google ads, those have helped with kind of building that database.
Right.
But
because that's almost complementary to your community stuff, but it's almost a needed piece.
Yeah.
Because you're filling in the gaps with the discovery piece.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. And that's where they discover me. But then the conversion is like in person because, you know, and then I'm going into my database and I'm like, hey, you know, you want a free bag of coffee? And so I'll like send out email newsletters to my database and we'll do giveaways and things like that. And that's the biggest ROI is that the money I don't really have to spend. Like,
so this next one I really want to get into because I think it's good, well, in your industry, obviously, but for every business entrepreneur out there, this fact, people need to see you 17 times before they know who you are. And then we were just talking off camera, that number could be even higher.
Yeah.
But talk to us about that. And
because it used to be 17 times, like 10 years ago was like 7-8 times.
Yeah, no, I think it's like somewhere, I don't know. I could have just made this up in my head, but I think I just saw a stat that said like 27 times. 17. So 17 to 27 times.
That's
Either
still
way,
a lot.
that's a long time. And could you imagine having to go out and meet someone in person 17 times before you close a deal? Like, I
know for some industries it's longer. Like you buying a car, you're doing the discovery, you're
Yeah.
looking at like the BMW website
Right.
before you look at your local dealers, and then you get the Pinterest stuff, Facebook stuff, and then you physically go on. You maybe take a test drive. You go visit maybe 2 dealers, 3 if you're really like a smarter buyer or whatever, and then you're at maybe 100 plus touch points of digital and in person. But now for like, I mean, everyone won't do that because a car purchase, but anything else, it is that omnipresence and different channels and everything. So.
Yep. And so I think ultimately that's where social media really comes, like we were talking earlier, that's like kind of the bread and butter, right? So having a strong social presence and, you know, having a strong physical community presence and being able to take your audience and put them into your email database and being able to do everything you can to be able to touch them in that many times. By the time they've actually called you, it's like, hey, I'm ready to buy. I'm ready to sell. You know, it's not a let me chase you, let me call you and try to track you down and see if you want to talk to me when you're not ready. It's really why the omnipresence comes in.
So for our audience members out there, I'm gonna throw a change up at you.
Okay.
And for the people that don't believe in social media, saying it's not worth it, you know, I'm not that person. What would you say to those people who like still doubt the power of social media for your business?
What year are we in?
2023 going into 2024.
Oh, okay. So we're not back in 1980.
Yeah.
No, I'm not Michael Jackson drinking Pepsi doing the moonwalk, you know, halftime show. I'm way past that. So
Okay. I would say let me I don't know, because I do have some people say that. I'm going to say, and I don't want to offend anybody, so sorry if you're offended.
It's
but
all right.
There's a lot of
That's what we're about.
there's a lot of those old school real estate agents out there. I look at those. I have a certain name, like they're very stereotypical. They like to pick up the phone. They like to be like, "Hey, we have a listing down the street. Hey, we got this. Hey, we got that. Come sell your house with me. Come buy your house with me. Knock, knock, knock. Dial in for dollars, right?" And you have those people. And I'm sorry, I did that. I did that, and
well, you're in the loans world, you said,
right.
So you were called 100 calls a day, right?
Yeah, like
so.
that's what you did, and that's before we had all the tools available to us now. And so I just say, if you love to prospect, that is awesome. I also love to prospect. I just prospect on social media.
Right.
I just use social media as my prospecting tool. I use that as
You're pounding the pavement in a different manner.
I am, and I'm very strategic.
But still doing it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm prospecting. I mean, my team, we have a series of different types of business that we have coming in, but I personally I give myself a goal of 50 conversations a week at this stage in my career, which is still a lot for as much as I produce and being a team leader and everything else that I'm doing. 50 conversations a week, and if I was having to do 50 phone calls a week and try to hope that 50 people answer the phone,
good luck.
I would literally get nothing else done in my life.
Right.
But you know how easy it is to go on social media. You don't have to spend any money. Forget all the stuff we've been talking about ads. Just forget about that, and let's just talk about social media for a second.
Yeah.
You know how easy it is for me to make one phone call to, or let me just talk about my own listings for a second. You know how easy it is for me to put up 4 photos in my stories on Instagram and post a poll that says, what is your favorite feature of this house? Kitchen or bathroom, right? How easy is it for you to hit a button? Kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
So then all I do is I say, cool, kitchen. Hey, Joe. What color do you like? What countertops? What do you think of the countertops, right? And you just start the conversation. You just start talking to them,
right?
It actually happened the other day. I did this. We have a kind of a virtual open house that we do, and I had a guess the price feature. So I did some. We're in Washington State. You never know what homes are going to cost around here.
Right.
They could be $400,000. They could be $5 million. Who knows? But I did a guess the price feature, and I let people choose between what price these homes were. And every single person that responded, it was. You know how easy it was to have 50 conversations? Because everybody wants to guess a price, right? And so one of my conversations was the price was wrong. And I was like, it's really interesting. People who are not from Washington guess the price way lower than what it actually is,
Wow.
right? And so she was like, yeah. And she had some friends or somebody moving from Montana, and they were shocked at the prices out here. And I kind of talked to her a little bit more about that. And guess what? Her friends moving from Montana were moving soon, didn't have a real estate agent, and needed some help. So did I have to pick up the phone for that? No. Did it take me a long time to find that lead? No. Did I have to spend money on that? No. All I had to do was go out and do what I love to do, which is look at houses and beautiful views.
Right.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to put you on the spot. How many houses do you sell a year?
This year, I will personally close about 30.
And you have a team?
I do, yeah.
In total between you and your team?
Right now, the team is brand new, so right now it's 30.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how many did you sell last year?
24.
Okay. I just want to put in perspective for people who are like, why should I listen to you? Right? I'm a real estate agent. If I'm watching this podcast, why should I listen to you if you're selling 30 houses a year?
Yeah. Why should you?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're selling 30 houses a year and you're doing it better than me, I want to know. I want to know. I do want to know. I'm curious. If you if your goal in life is to sell 100 homes a year,
that's
right?
a lot.
Cool. That used to be my goal until I realized that I can actually work a lot smarter, and I can be very happy with elevating my price point, elevating my service package, elevating my commission, because I actually have more time. Selling 30 homes is still pretty what would I call that? So I think it's still pretty good. I mean, the average agent sells one a month. So I think that's still pretty good, but I look at it as like, I at one point wanted to sell 100 homes a year, but I was like, looking at it, I'm like, there's no way I can do this and actually have a life.
Would never see
I have no life, and I'd have to do the things I don't want to do. And like I said, beginning this conversation, I'm not in this business to hate what I do.
Right.
I'm in this business to love what I do.
Right.
And so I think part of why you should listen to me is because I've figured out social media. Like, forget the ads, right? I figured out social media. I figured out how to use it as a tool. I figured out how to build a build a business, not just build a database. And I
Right.
think with this industry being the way it is right now, I see a lot of people just putting out money on just the next best lead gen. Like, let's just spend a ton of money on the next best lead generation system.
Yeah.
Cool, let's do it, right? But that's not teaching you how to build a scalable business.
Right.
And I can say right now, I do have 2 newer people on my team. And what I've been able to see them do in the last, 60 days, 90 days with what I've taught them, there's nothing better than that. Like, actually seeing them step out of their comfort zone and seeing them like, oh my gosh, it's kind of fun. Like, I have a new agent, she's got 3 young kids, and she's like, I can actually be a real estate agent, make money, and be a good mom. And so for her, that's really important.
It's a win-win,
And that's
yeah.
a big win. So if I can actually help somebody do that with my methods, cool. That's what I want to do. Like, and that's why I think that you should listen to me.
So let's
Long answer, but there you go.
it is, but okay. So the importance of omnipresence for social media, we kind of touched it a little bit, but just to dummy it down, there's a lot of platforms out there.
Yeah.
Is there a top 3 or top 5 for you, or is it a top 7?
The top 1.
Okay.
Top 1. You could be a top 25 if you wanted it to be, but you can't be everywhere at one time without, if you try to create content for every platform, you're going to fail. I've done it. So that's why you should listen to me, because I can tell you I've done it. My favorite platform is Instagram. I love Instagram. I love it. I like the color scheme. I like that you get videos and long videos and short videos and music and pictures and text. And I just love Instagram. I also love that the Instagram hits a demographic that's kind of perfect for my target market. Okay. So I know my target market, they're really between the age of 35 and 55. They have an income level, and that income level and target market is on Instagram. So that's part of the reason I like it. And I have found personally, it's easier for me to create content for Instagram and then repurpose that content to other platforms. So I'm only thinking about the one platform that I'm producing for.
So the Instagram's a content, kind of your baseline
Yeah.
for everything.
Yep.
Okay.
And sometimes, Instagram Reel, like trending audio Reel, is not going to work on LinkedIn. But the content's going to be real good. The other thing I like about Instagram is Instagram just changed their algorithm, and they're now an SEO platform. So if you are using YouTube, you can also use the same keywords for Instagram and YouTube. So that's really helpful. It also works for your website. But I create content for Instagram. And then if I want to repurpose that to like LinkedIn, for example, I'll recreate the format.
Right.
So like you're not going to verbatim say what you said on Instagram is like your caption. You're going to change up what you say for Facebook, and you're going to change up how you do it for LinkedIn.
Yep, you're going to change just a little bit. There's just a few tweaks you make. You don't use as many emojis on LinkedIn as you would on Instagram, for example. Right. You don't use hashtags on LinkedIn as you will on, in Facebook. Instagram. You don't even use hashtags anymore, really. But you change a little bit of the format of it, but the content itself is for one platform.
Right.
And so you just focus on growing that platform, and all the other ones just kind of come with it.
So you've seen probably a lot of other people's stuff. You're a learner, so you watch your competition. So for the bulk of people on Instagram, or businesses, what are 1 or 2 things you see people do wrong a lot?
For Instagram? What I see a lot is I see people kind of all over the place with their content, in the sense of they don't know who their audience is. Like, I don't know, sometimes I don't even know whose people's audiences are. Like, mine is pretty clear. I help busy professionals, mid to executive level busy professionals upgrade their home and their lifestyle with simplicity, right? I have a very clear 5-step process. So you'll notice, if you look on my content, you're going to see calls to action like comment dream, and we're going to show you all about the dream method, right? So you'll see that. But I think that that's the biggest mistake I see people make, is not being super clear about who is your target client, and really understanding the emotion behind them, what they're saying, what they're wearing, where they're at, what they're doing, and being able to speak to them.
So in the past year, you mentioned you like keep a close eye on your competitors. What's one of the best things you've learned from a competitor?
Some of the best things I've learned is my top competitors are also the top collaborators. And I've actually reached out to a few of them because we'll see each other on Instagram, and I've reached out and I've had coffee with them. We've gone to baseball games, and they are, yeah, we're tough competition, but it's not really competition.
It's not like hate competition.
No, it's more like we're genuinely happy for each other. Like I genuinely ask some of these other agents, like, tell me about your business. What are you doing? In fact, tomorrow I had another one reach out to me, and she's like, I want to know a little bit more about what I saw you post on Instagram the other day because I want to step up my game. She's in my market. She's right down the street from me. We probably will compete on a listing appointment at some point in our career.
Right, in the very near future.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to give her my secrets.
Yeah.
I'm going to give her my secrets. And that's I think the biggest thing I've learned from my competition is to collaborate with each other, because there's plenty of business to go around, and also their client is not my client.
Right.
And so
What I also see, what you just said, is I see that in every other industry.
Yeah.
Where people are afraid to talk to their competition.
Yeah.
Share what they're doing because then they feel like they could lose their potential customers.
A fear of
to them.
loss.
Yeah, fear of loss.
yeah, or sometimes it's like, it's just I think that's really that's very old school thinking as well. It's kind of like people who don't want to be on social media. I think that's the same
I
thinking.
think, yeah, you're right. The mindset's the same
Yeah,
there.
it's the same mindset. It's great. We might actually go up and compete on a listing appointment at some point in the future. And you know who's going to win? The person who's best for that client.
Yeah.
Right. So what led you to formalize like the dream method? I'm sure you probably had aspects of it as you were kind of building up for it.
Yeah.
What's the straw that broke the camel's back to say, hey, I'm gonna put this out there?
I mean, truthfully, I actually took a marketing course that helped me put it together. But yes, it was kind of one of those things where over the years I've collected these tools and put together these systems. I mean, coming from a corporate background, I was in business process. And so for me, having a process has been
Natural.
Like I need it. And also, if you're in real estate and you understand the disc profile, you will understand that I'm a very high D with a very high C as well. So it's a very weird combination of like I want things done now, but I want them done
A certain way.
the right way.
Yeah.
And so anyway, my point is that like over the years I've like been able to collect different pieces of the process,
Right.
and put it all together. And what really broke it was I needed to figure out how to like have something that's very niche in the market, because this market is all about the niche. You have to be a specialist, not a generalist. And that's what did it. The market really did it. The market dictated. Like
Right.
I saw the writing on the wall. I saw what was coming, and I was like, okay, I've got to be able to get ahead of it rather than try to like swim,
Yeah.
be a doggy paddle.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I am going to have a very, very, very high producing real estate team that runs itself. I probably will not be producing. I mean, I'll be producing for my clients, my past clients, but I will probably not be producing in 5 years. I actually am now moving toward to the transition of helping other real estate agents do what I did, helping other real estate agents build a business on social media. And that's really where I see that 5 year mark. So.
And so you mentioned a workshop or something you're having.
Yeah.
So why don't you share with our audience and
Yeah.
fellow real estate agents who may need help a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I'm actually on October 12th is the very first launch. I've been kind of planning this for a while, but I just finally put the date out there. I will be hosting a workshop, a 4-week workshop that is talking about my systems, my social media systems. And that's really what people want to know a lot about, and how I've been able to build a business with social. And all of what I'm going to teach is going to show you how to do it without spending money. So, I mean, I'm not trying to like teach anybody how to run ads or anything like that. I don't care. I just want to teach you how to build your Instagram and build your Facebook to be prospecting tools that work for you while you sleep.
Wow. That's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And is there a website or a place online that they could easily register or find out more information then?
Yeah, I will. It's a Stan store. So
Okay.
I can send you the Stan store link and you can put it
Yeah,
in
we'd
the
love to
comments.
share it.
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is
So.
it that workshop? Is it an in-person workshop?
It is a Zoom. It's a virtual workshop,
Okay.
And it's really cool because I'm doing it more of today's day and age. Everyone's building a course, a digital course, right? But what I have found in these last few years is that people I value time more than anything, and people value my time, and I always get so much more when I actually have interaction. So it's essentially 4 hours worth of my time, and people are going to walk away from with that, having my exact content plans, my exact systems, my exact ways that I leverage and automate my content so people can see me all the time.
Right.
And they're also going to walk away with strategies that I use today. I just gave you an insight to one of them a minute ago, but strategies that I use in my business right now. So
Awesome
that's
stuff.
what people are going to walk away with.
Before we close, Joe, one last plug for our hashtag Valor Cares initiative,
Yep.
please.
Simply put, if you're looking for a website to be built for your business, just go to our website, apply, and hopefully we can get one rolling for you.
Awesome. So on behalf of our sponsors, A Advanced Services and Fuse Networks, I'm Galen.
Joe.
Coming at you from the Creative Block Studios in Seattle, Washington. Lynea, thank you for jumping
you.
on.
Absolutely.
We may even have you back at another point, another podcast down the road. It's pretty powerful stuff that's really relevant that I think people are starting to come around, and social media is so powerful. So thanks for jumping on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And thanks for tuning in this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast. Thanks, everyone.